Look, I think we can all agree that by now, we all know that MAGA Republicans are good at one thing and one thing only, and that is playing the victim. Every single time something bad happens to one of them, it is not their fault. They are being targeted by whatever boogeyman they choose that day, or it's the deep state, or some mysterious individual that they actually haven't picked out for everybody. We don't really know who they're talking about, and there's no better embodiment of this than Donald Trump himself. I mean, think about it. Every single time Donald Trump gets indicted or there's a civil case against him, he says it's the deep state. He says it's Joe Biden coming after him, or he says it's the forces beyond our understanding and that the powerful coming after him. It's all garbage. We all know that. But they never take accountability, and they're really running with this line in the 2024 election that Donald Trump is somehow being targeted and that the DOJ and the legal system is treating him unfairly, when in reality, Donald Trump is benefiting from the legal system in many ways. He has yet to face accountability in any of the criminal cases against him. All of these trials against him continue to get pushed back. He comes up with some lame delay tactic, and the courts take it up because sometimes they have to, and sometimes I have no idea why they do it. But Jen Psaki on MSNBC last night had a fantastic segment about this, showing that Donald Trump is not being targeted by the legal system. He's actually benefiting from it. Trust me, it's worth a watch. Take a look at the clip.
And what really struck me about all of this is just how ironic it is that a guy who has railed against a two-tiered system of justice repeatedly has been afforded the kind of leniency that no one else would ever receive. I mean, of course there is a two-tiered justice system in this country, one in desperate need, by the way, of reform. But it is definitely not tiered in the way that Donald Trump is describing. And he's implying that he is the one who is treated worse, when actually the opposite is true. Just consider that under New York state law, Attorney General Letitia James could have enforced the nearly $500 million judgment against Trump last month, but she didn't. She granted him a 30-day grace period to front the money before the appeals court intervened. And I can keep going here, and I will for a little bit, because in Florida, the Trump-appointed judge overseeing his documents case has shown him such blatant favoritism, she's been rebuked twice by a higher court. She is, surprise, surprise, moving at a snail's pace right now and is yet to even decide when that trial will actually begin. It's also worth noting that anyone else who knowingly and improperly retained classified documents would likely have faced travel restrictions or be forced to surrender their passport or even be put in jail, but not Donald Trump. Likewise, in the election interference case, the Supreme Court hit the pause button so they could take up the absurd argument that a president should be able to do whatever he wants, even assassinate a political rival, and be immune from prosecution. And while justice for Trump in that case is delayed indefinitely, hundreds of his supporters, the people who listened to his lies, have faced prison sentences, hundreds of them. But again, not Donald Trump. And back in New York, yes, a trial date was circled on the calendar in the election interference hush money case today. That's a big deal. And the judge actually scolded the Trump team and strongly rejected their arguments to delay. But we were supposed to be covering the start of that trial today, and we are not. So no, Trump is not the victim of a two-tiered system of justice in this country. He's been a beneficiary. There is one system for the powerful, wealthy, and well-connected like Donald Trump, and there is an entirely other system for everyone else.
Yeah, that was really well said. And look, I think we can all agree that if Donald Trump were any other average American, he would be sitting in jail right now. If he were you or I, he would not be allowed to campaign. He wouldn't be allowed to travel. He would have his passports revoked, and he would be sitting in jail right now. But he's not. He's out there campaigning. He's living his best life at Mar-a-Lago, having lunch by the pool with all of his other conspiracy theorists around him. And I think the examples that Jen Psaki gave were perfect. I mean, just think about January 6th. Right? The people who did his bidding that day, the people who answered Donald Trump's call and came to Washington, D.C. and invaded the Capitol for him, many of them are sitting in jail right now. They have faced the proper accountability, and they are in jail for a year, many years, decades, depending on the case. But Donald Trump, the man who brought them there, is walking free. He's just out about. He's campaigning. He wants to go to the Oval Office again. And think about Donald Trump's own January 6th case. He is currently arguing in front of the Supreme Court, and has done so in lower courts, that he is immune from any criminal prosecution just because he was president of the United States. Now, on face value, that sounds absurd, right? Because it is. You know, the idea that a president is a king and that they're immune from criminal prosecution and they could target a political opponent and have them killed or sell secrets to a foreign adversary and get away with it is Looney Tunes, right? To your average American, but not to the Supreme Court. They took up Donald Trump's claim that he's immune, further pushing back his January 6th trial. And not only did they take it up, but they scheduled it on the last day of arguments for their term, the very last day, pushing it back as far as humanly possible. All the other January 6th insurrectionists did not get this same privilege. They did not have the privilege to have their cases pushed back time and time again. And think about the classified document case. This is the most egregious example. If any other average American stole classified documents like Donald Trump did, and the amount that Donald Trump did, many of which including nuclear secrets, and was on audio admitting to having those classified documents, they'd be sitting in jail. They would not have free movement. They wouldn't be able to travel. Their passport would be gone. But Donald Trump is campaigning to be the next president of the United States. He's out. He's out there. And finally, look at the New York fraud case against Donald Trump. I mean, he is going to end up paying a massive fine because he's going to lose on appeal. I think we can all predict that. But the fact that his bond was reduced from $454 million in 30 days to now been reduced by an appeals court to $175 million is absurd. And it's not only that. They gave him an extra 10 days to find the money and post it, and they lifted restrictions on where Donald Trump can find that money. It's a pass. He is getting the privilege of having his name being Donald Trump. And because he's involved in politics, a lot of people think that he should have this privilege, which is absurd. And remember, it's not just Donald Trump who has the same privilege. There are so many people around him who were involved in January 6th who were not indicted. They are walking free. They're not even facing a criminal charge yet. That could change in the future. But right now, they have nothing on their plate. They incited an insurrection. They were pivotal in it. And they get to walk around pretending like nothing happened. Now, look, I want to make it clear that I have faith in our legal system. I believe that Donald Trump is going to get his day in court. Matter of fact, his New York criminal trial was just scheduled for April 15th the other day, which is less than 3 weeks right now. And the judge did not seem interested in having any more delays. He chewed out Donald Trump's lawyers in the courtroom for being the reason that the case was delayed in the first place. And that's right around the corner. I mean, again, that is happening in less than 3 weeks. Donald Trump could be staring down the barrel of dozens of felony criminal charges against him in the state of New York. So look, I have faith. I have confidence. I have a belief that our legal system will prevail. But just the fact that Donald Trump has not faced a criminal trial yet, and many of them against him, the majority probably, he will not face before the election, is still crazy to me. But I want to remind everybody, it's crucial to keep the faith. Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans want us to be tired. They want us to believe that nothing's ever going to get done, so what's the point? We cannot get into that mode. We have to stay focused and keep the faith. America and our legal system will prevail. Justice always prevails. Democracy bends. It does not break. So thank you for watching, everybody. I really appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe, like, comment on the video, share it, turn on the subscriber notifications. It would mean the world to me. I really appreciate it. And as I always say, keep the faith. We got this. We got this. We just got to put in the work and we'll make it happen.